Nobody warned you that being understood would cost you something. We spend our lives rehearsing for it, choosing our words carefully, softening our edges, staying a little quieter than we actually feel, all of it aimed at the same quiet goal, to have someone look at us and finally, completely, get it. But what if being misunderstood isn't the wound you've been treating it as? What if it's actually the most honest proof that you exist? There's a version of you that you've been quietly editing for years. Not all at once. It happened slowly, the way light changes in a room when someone draws the curtain just an inch. A comment here, a long silence there. Someone's face when you said the thing you actually meant. And so you learn to say a different thing, a safer thing, something that landed without friction, without the discomfort of watching another person try to locate you in a category they already understand. You got good at it. You became fluent in the language of being palatable. And for a while, it felt like connection. People nodded. People included you. People said, "I get you," in that easy, breezy way. And some part of you knew they didn't. Not really. But you told yourself that near enough was enough. Except it wasn't. Because there's a specific kind of loneliness that lives inside of being well-liked. A hollow feeling that doesn't have a clean name. You're surrounded by people who love the version of you that you invented for them. And somewhere underneath all of it, the real thing, the full, unedited, complicated thing, is waiting in a room nobody's been invited into. That's not connection. That's performance. And performance, no matter how convincing, eventually exhausts the performer. Imagine a woman named Dara, 26 years old, standing in her childhood bedroom on a Sunday night, staring at a text she hasn't sent. She's been home for the lie days. Dinner was fine. Conversations were fine. Everyone laughed at the right moments. And now she's alone, and she's holding her phone, and the text she's drafted says something true. Something about her life, her choices, the direction she's going. And she knows, she absolutely knows, that when she sends it, the responses will be gentle and well-meaning, and completely miss the point. So she deletes it. Not because it wasn't true, because the truth is too much architecture to explain in a text, and she doesn't have the energy to build it for people who've already decided what her life should look like. She puts her phone down. She goes to sleep. And she wakes up the next morning feeling something she can't name yet. A mixture of grief and relief, pressed together so tightly they feel like the same thing. That moment. That exact moment. That's the crossroads that nobody talks about when they talk about being yourself. Because it's not a dramatic stand. It's not a speech. It's not a confrontation. It's just a quiet, private decision to stop trying to make your truth legible to people who are reading a different language. Dara doesn't know it yet, but what she let go of that night wasn't connection. It was the illusion of connection, the kind that requires constant maintenance, constant translation, constant shrinking. What she stepped into instead was something harder and stranger, and eventually far more real. Here's the thing no one says out loud. Understanding is not the same as acceptance. We conflate them. We assume that if someone truly understood us, really saw the whole picture, they would accept us, love us, stay. And so we spend enormous energy trying to be understood, thinking that's the door we need to get through. But understanding doesn't guarantee anything. People can understand you completely and still choose something else. They can understand your ambition and find it threatening. They can understand your sensitivity and find it inconvenient. They can understand your vision and simply prefer a world where that vision doesn't disrupt their own. The misunderstanding isn't always the problem. Sometimes the problem is that they understood you fine, and it didn't change anything. And here's where the paradox lives. Here's the thing that changes everything when you actually sit with it. The people who misunderstand you are often doing you a profound favor. Not intentionally, not generously, but the gap between who you are and who they think you are, that gap is information. It tells you exactly where you're outgrowing the frames that were built for you. Every person who doesn't quite get it is a sign that you've become something that doesn't fit the old language anymore. You're not broken. You're not difficult. You haven't failed at communication. You've just moved further out than the map they're holding. Being misunderstood isn't a rejection. It's a coordinate. It marks where the known world ends and your actual territory begins. Let's not dress this up. This is hard. This is genuinely, privately, sometimes unbearably hard. There will be people who matter to you, people whose understanding you're not supposed to need and do anyway, who will get the shape of you wrong. They'll love a version of you that isn't the whole story, and you'll have to decide, over and over again, whether to correct them or to carry the distance quietly. Some relationships will not survive you becoming more yourself. Read that again slowly. Some relationships will not survive you becoming more yourself. Not because you failed them, not because you didn't try, but because who you're becoming doesn't require the same things from the world that who you used to be required. And some people were built for the version of you that was easier to hold. That grief is real. Don't skip it. Don't philosophize your way past it before you've actually felt it. But here's what waits on the other side of that grief. And this is the part that no one who's still performing will understand, which is its own quiet irony. Freedom, not the loud, triumphant, fist-in-the-air kind. The kind that's more like exhaling after you've been holding your breath for a very long time. The freedom of not managing someone else's idea of you. The freedom of walking into a room and not running the background calculation of whether you're landing correctly. The freedom of being genuinely, uncomplicatedly, even inconveniently yourself, and finding that the people who stay anyway are keeping a different kind of company. It will cost you the audience. It will buy you back your interior life. So here you are. You've been holding this question for a while, maybe years, maybe your whole adult life. And the question is this: is it worth it? Is the freedom worth the misunderstanding? And I want to give you an honest answer, not a motivational one. Yes, but not because misunderstanding doesn't hurt. It's worth it because the alternative, the managed, curated, permanently translated version of yourself, costs more. It costs you in slow, invisible increments. It costs you the quality of your attention, the depth of your rest, the texture of your own private thoughts. It costs you the ability to trust your own instincts because you've spent so long running them through the filter of other people's reactions. The person who is misunderstood and knows it is always in a more honest position than the person who is understood and believed it, because that first person knows exactly where the gap is. And knowing where the gap is the beginning of everything. You don't need to be understood to be whole. You just need to stop needing it more than you need yourself. The misunderstanding isn't where you lost something. It's where you stopped pretending.